an open space at Griffith Park. These stories coming up after CBS News on KNX News 97.1 FM. It's 12 o'clock.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Rocket Mortgage.
I'm Tom Foti in Washington. It's another day of heavy red ink on financial markets as Wall Street reacts to a weak report on retail sales. Those sales falling more than 0.5% from the month before, all over furniture, electronics, home and garden stores. Analyst Michael Farr with Farr Miller in Washington.
The consumer, no matter how good they feel, can't spend what they don't have. They're running out of wallet. And that's going to put a crimp on markets as we come into year end.
The Dow and S&P are both down more than 2%. NASDAQ down almost 3%. Almost 3 years into the coronavirus pandemic.
The Biden administration is again making free COVID tests available. You can order those, it says, through covidtest.gov starting today. Personnel and equipment are being put on standby should hospitals become overwhelmed in the weeks and months ahead. And the numbers are expected to go higher over the upcoming holidays as more Americans gather together and spend time indoors.
CBS News correspondent Cammie McCormick. There was remorse in a Michigan courtroom where 3 men who were not directly involved in the conspiracy but were convicted of providing support for a plot to kidnap the governor heard their sentences.
I subject myself to you and ask for mercy upon me and my family. I send my sincere apology to the governor, to her family, and all law enforcement who were affected.
Joe Morrison got 10 years in prison. Now to the Texas-Mexico border, where correspondent Lilia Luciano is covering the wave of new migrants.
The city of El Paso just learned that they will receive $6 million from FEMA, and local officials tell me they also hope that the federal government will open Fort Bliss, something that's done before, as a shelter. The cold is bone-chilling right now.
Also about the weather, tornadoes this time of year are not unheard of, but they are rare, and there were more than 20 of them last night and early today from Texas to the Florida Panhandle.
We've had several tornadic events in December, which proves to the fact that severe weather can happen any time of the year here in North Texas. And residents in the area, people just need to be aware.
Meteorologist Jennifer Dunn with the National Weather Service. Nearly 2 centuries after a notorious decision by the Supreme Court.
The U.S. House has approved a measure that calls for removing the bust of Roger Taney from the Capitol. The nation's 5th Chief Justice wrote the infamous 1857 Dred Scott decision that said African Americans were not citizens. The bust of Taney now sits inside the entrance to the old Supreme Court chamber.
That is CBS News correspondent Jim Krasula. There's late word from the Pentagon, which now says that U.S. military will expand its training of Ukrainian forces. This as Russia continues to warn against the placement of possible more advanced anti-missile systems there. This is CBS News.
This hour's newscast is presented by Rocket Mortgage. Need to know what it takes for a home loan to fit your budget and your family? Rocket can.
This is KNX News 97.1 FM.
The people you know.
The voices you trust.
12:03, I'm Rob Archer. Top local story. The seat saved for LA County's new sheriff for today's first meeting with county oversight commissioners was empty. Craig Fichtner has the story.
Been a couple weeks now since LA County Sheriff Robert Luna took office, and this morning he was a no-show at the Civilian Oversight Commissioners meeting. He was not under subpoena to attend, but as a matter of procedure, they were expecting him, or at least a representative from the department.
I did want to point out that I spoke with personnel from the Sheriff's Department last week. The Sheriff had intended to attend our meeting today, hadn't been in Los Angeles because of the schedule this morning, and so they called and said would not be able to make it. I don't know about sending an additional person, but the Sheriff didn't have intention to go to attend this meeting. Well, we are in Los Angeles County.
These oversight meetings are typically held at Loyola Marymount, not in Newhall. The commissioners chalked up Sheriff Luna's absence to a learning curve. They say from what they've seen so far, Luna is a breath of fresh air. Craig Fichtner, KNX News 97.1 FM.